So we're here, Jacina Love. This is 50, and I mean the king of Atlanta. I'm not gonna cry, I promise.
You crazy.
Oh man, this is such an honor. Everything you've done, just from me to you, I thank you for all the music and all that I grew up with, and it's just something that we have to put out there before we start this.
I appreciate the consideration and the acknowledgement, man. It's an honor to be able to, present music that people make a part of their lives.
Right.
You know what I mean? Music, like when we identify with songs, is because it reminds us of a certain part of our life that we're fond of. You know what I'm saying? So, you attach songs to highlights of your life, sort of like a highlight reel, ESPN or something.
Totally.
You start thinking about all, like, the first time you drove a car, first kiss, first day of school, all of those things are associated to songs. So for me, it's an honor to be a part of that.
And for me, being a teacher and dealing with different languages and teaching kids language, you realize how music is a second language, and how it don't matter if they don't know what you're saying, but the vibe and the flow, and they could take to, they don't care, they're vibing to it.
That's true.
So all of that is just, music is something on another level, and you've been one to be a king of that in your time.
I mean, man, I appreciate it. Like, for me, music is just kind of like, me sharing stories and things I've seen other people go through, things I've gone through in my own life, and basically just setting it to music. You know what I'm saying? And present it to the world. So I appreciate y'all for just taking the time to listen.
Totally.
Because it don't mean shit if you don't listen to it.
Oh, hello. Hello. So now you're all into criminal justice.
Right.
Let's talk about this. Let's get into this.
Okay.
I want to hear, what age did this start for you? What sparked? I mean, not what sparked it, because obviously, being a black man, being a man of color, we know where this is going. You know what I'm saying? We know we're raising our kids in this. Our parents have to tell us 20 times, be careful, call us 20 times when we're out in the street.
Right.
So talk to me about that.
Well, I mean, man, to be honest with you, I've always been somewhat of a rebel. Like, even in school, I remember in 6th grade, I got kicked out of school for not standing for the pledge.
Wow. You
know what I'm saying? And they really sent me home. Like, of course, I was using it as a tool of disruption. You know what I'm saying? I just was sitting down knowing that, once I did it, then everyone else was going to do it, and the teacher just couldn't get control of the class anymore. So that was probably my first, my first sit-in, if you will. And I just always learned how establishments have been challenged by people who just did not take the status quo. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like, speaking truth to power. Like, I studied Malcolm X for a period of time. I studied Huey P. Newton and Bobby Seale for a period of time. Of course, Martin Luther King. Being from Atlanta, you know what I'm saying, you kind of always heard stories and things about Ambassador Young, Andrew Young, Hosea Williams, just so many people that I've seen. Nelson Mandela, that would not take whatever society deemed appropriate for them. They would not. They had to resist, and that resistance became so strong once it's united and supported by people that look like them and people who agree with them. That resistance turned into a movement that ultimately changed the way we live. And that always, impressed me, you know what I'm saying? So I always kind of saw that ability within myself.
So amazing to hear. And to hear in the classroom, and don't be saying that teachers weren't going to control you. I'm a teacher, so I take it personally. Well, I always feel like...
I mean, man, I take my hat off, and I think teachers should be celebrated. Educators should be celebrated in and out of the classroom. However, I think that the structure, like the structure and the institution of public school especially, is there to kill the confidence.
That's right.
Of young black kids and young kids of color. I feel like those that like me, all the teachers and principals felt was disruptors and, trying to cause attention for themselves. They really saying, now y'all want me you trying to train me to be a part of this system, and I don't want it. I don't want it for myself. So I'm not following your leadership because you're not leading me where I want to be. I had a conversation with a principal at high school one time. I failed every class except algebra and language arts because those are the two classes that my teachers engaged me. Those are the things that I appreciated. And so I got called to the office. It was like, son, you obviously can do the work. Why is it that you're not applying yourself? I said, well, see, y'all got a bunch of kids. Y'all got a school full of kids that don't know what they want to do yet. So what y'all doing is y'all kind of, just giving them a bunch of stuff that they probably ain't gonna need. I already know what I want to do. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take from this school building what I'm going to need on my journey, and I'm gonna leave the rest of it for the rest of the kids. And he said, man, get out my office. Get out my office, please. And so, that was kind of like the kind of kid I was, man. I always I always knew who I was and what I wanted to do. It was never like, a moment of confusion for me. It was always, I knew that I was here to lead and really like provide entertainment and inspiration to the people who need it the most.
And I love to hear that because being a teacher and being in the classroom, I always say, like, first of all, I'm not telling you to take off your do-rag when you come in. I'm not telling you to pick up your pants. That's the disconnect. That's you automatically begin to disconnect. Our kids go out into the hood. That's the survival of the fittest.
Yeah.
That's how they're getting by every day, right? They're wearing the hoodies. They're wearing the pants low. But it's a culture thing, So when you automatically come into the classroom and you try to strip them of that without them understanding, I just want better for you. I just want you to look better, to present yourself better, because that's where it's supposed to get to, That's the idea behind it. But no, we're stripping them from their culture, from all they know, from the way their father walks in the house.
Individuality.
Yes.
It's a sense of individuality and and a sense of independence. As a kid, it ain't many decisions that you can make for yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because, everything is kind of like, it's more rules of things that you can't do than it is of, instructions of things that you can.
Yes.
And so that's why, I'm saying, if a kid wants some form or some sense of independence, some sense of individuality, he, instead of wearing his hat straight, he might cock it to the side.
Yes.
Or, he might pull up one of his pants legs. He might wear mismatched socks because these are decisions that he can make or she can make for themselves. And if you start impeding on that, and they're going to look at you as, like a dictator of sorts. Like, yo, man, like, why you care what I got on my head? Like, what does that have to do with anything? Like, why does that matter to you?
And you can still discipline a child. They have it real misconstrued. They feel like if you allow them to be who they are, you're going to lose the respect, or you're going to lose that opportunity to discipline. And that's basically where I feel where the disconnect begins.
I think discipline comes with logic and reasoning, though, because the discipline won't stick if they don't understand why this is taking place.
Totally.
You know what I'm saying? So if you just say, do it just because I said so, that ain't gonna stick. They might do it in your face, you know what I'm saying? But once they get out your sight, they gonna do what they understand, for themselves.
Yeah.
So that's why I kind of like, I try and be logical as much as possible and rational as much as possible with my kids.
Totally. Yes, and I mean, meeting your son last night, I felt like I was raised with him. Watching him on the show. So the smallest, both of them.
King, Damani, I think King, Damani, and Messiah, I believe, was here last night.
Yeah, they all were.
Yeah.
Oh man, what a blessing. So now we got Us or Else, right? Fighting for the liberation of Black people and other people.
Yeah.
And I mean, first of all, the name itself, Us or Else.
Right.
We're here to be heard.
That's right.
Talk to us about that.
Us or Else was a movement, man. It really started with a hashtag, you know what I'm saying, that I just start pushing the narrative. I think it was back before the 2016 elections.
Yeah, because you dropped something. You dropped an album, right? That was called that in that year, 2016.
Yep. So it grew from a hashtag to I did an EP.
Yes, that's what it was.
An EP full of socially conscious,
Had so many on there.
politically charged records, challenging the perspectives of I guess government and society at large, for real. And the EP was, it was so received so well that we just went on and did a re-release and turned it into an entire album. But it became more of a compilation because, other people came in and chimed in and contributed. Like Trans Lee, Meek Mills, Quavo.
So many.
Yeah,
it's a lot. The list is a long one.
Jets. We had a good time doing it. So and then I didn't want to just make it like something that was just an album, and then after that you move on and nothing else happens. So we just began to find different initiatives that we could support, and also finding cases that we could bring light to. Bring attention to, from like Centoya Brown was one of the first ones that we kind of like, it really touched us. Her story, being, a victim of human trafficking and having the strength and courage to fight back and free herself.
Things we only see in movies.
Yeah.
Reality, when I read that story, I was like...
It's crazy.
Oh my goodness.
For her to even be, put on trial, for someone who's underage and put in a position where they, they're forced to do things. For her to be tried and convicted and serving time, like that to me, man, that was preposterous. So, me and a host of others, brought light to it, and she was granted clemency. By the governor of Tennessee, and she doing good. She's still helping other young ladies who in a situation similar to the one she was in, or making it out of a situation that was similar to hers. Also, the Diamonds Ford.
Yes, that was such a crazy story, and you posting that and brought so much light to it.
Right.
Making things happen for her. Not quick, because a day away from your child is
that's right.
A day too many. A day too many.
Definitely, it took us 4 months longer than it should have.
Yeah, for real.
You know what I'm saying? But now she's out. She's out on bond, still fighting the case, but she's been reunited with her child. But stories like that I become aware of, or other people bring to my attention. Another one was the story of the poor conditions of the Mississippi prison system.
Yes.
That's something that a lot of people kind of, flooded my DMs with, and myself, David Banner, and others, and then Yo Gotti and Jay. They actually put together, they I think on behalf of Reform, if I'm not mistaken, they put together a lawsuit, to kind of try and bring forth some changes in the prison system, systemically though. But stories like that we, that we have brought to our attention, that we feel that we could lend some support. Or shine some light on, bring some attention to, bring some awareness to. That's what we try and do.
Amazing. And to be clear, Us or Else behind it is a bunch of interns who are in law school. So when I found that out, I was like, whoa, they're doing their job. They know the system. They know, they're young. They're totally into what's the now, and they're working it.
Yeah, I'm blessed beyond measure, man, that so many people would choose to align their efforts with ours. You know what I mean? But I think that's what it takes, man. We have so many things that plague our communities right now, that keep us marginalized, and as many things as there are that affect us as a generation, as a community, sticking together will solve 99% of it.
Oh my gosh, yes.
If we just stick together, we just find a way just to stick together, you know what I'm saying? I think we can overcome anything together. But as long as we continue to backbite, and I think that's going to that's gonna take us further away from the desired destination.
Totally. Now let's get into the statement, defund the police.
Right.
Because I feel like there's a lot of ideas behind that, and they're not understanding what us. Because I mean, okay, as a teacher, there's workshops we have to go through. The child abuse. These are things we have to do yearly to make sure that we're on point with our kids when they come in yearly, on a yearly basis.
Sure.
So these are the kind of things, when we say defund the police, we mean let's take that money and use it for things that are gonna benefit out. So please talk to me. Explain it in your words.
Well, I mean, I think the term defund the police, it makes people feel, when you listen to it, if you're just listening to the words and not understanding what the principle behind the phrase intends, but it makes people feel like, oh, you want crime to run rampant and you want no law, no order,
you're not gonna be able to call the police when you have something going on. Of course I want to be able to call the police.
Well, that's not, I don't think that's the purpose of the term at all. But as you just mentioned, there are billions, if not trillions of dollars dumped into law enforcement for all kinds of things that are unnecessary. And that amount of money gives a sort of absolute power and authority that goes unchecked. And when that happens, it affects the citizens. It affects the people that they were supposed to be working for. It's kind of like if you have, let's just say, not police, let's say a plumber. Okay, you have a plumber. The plumber comes and works at your house, and all of a sudden, you're paying this plumber $1 million a visit every time. In a minute, that plumber not gonna want to work at your house no more. Not gonna want to work. You done gave him too much money. You gave him too much money. He's not motivated. You don't have to check in and answer to you. Why? I got what I need. I don't need you. You fix your own damn pipes. You know what I'm saying? So that's that's I think where we are with law enforcement, and dumping all of that money into law enforcement. It isn't working. It isn't working. You know, all the war on drug was a failure.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And now you just have a bunch of people in position of authority that lack empathy and don't really take into consideration the environment and the mindset and the conditioning of the people in the communities that they're patrolling or supposed to be serving.
That's right.
And that's the disconnect that has to be mended. You know what I'm saying? And I think we would be better served investing money in things that prevent people from ending up running into the law, rather than investing more money in the law to keep them, like, they get them out there catching people.
Yep.
If you create opportunity, education, and exposure to new things that creates ambition for people to divert themselves away from the path that would lead them to prison and put themselves on a path to progression. And I think that's like, it costs more to send someone to prison for 4 years than to do to send someone to college.
Shoot.
So why would you do that?
Seriously.
Why would you do that? Why would we be paying correction officers to watch prisoners? Why would we pay them more than we would pay teachers?
Oh, man.
So you'll pay the person who has to watch the criminals.
Yep.
Just watch them. You're going to pay them more than the person who keep people from becoming criminals. And that, to me, is not logical. It's not rational. It don't make sense. It don't seem smart. And so I think that's what is the thought and intention behind the term defund the police.
Amazing. So now, from the people to you, when it comes to what the turnover in Georgia with the voting,
right.
I mean, we the people really put in this time around.
That's right.
And you really were one of those advocates for that, right?
Yeah.
Now, we still have
others.
People, yes, among, oh my God, there definitely was. Let's not get it, yes.
Yeah,
but
a host of us.
I have to give credit where credit is due.
Thank you.
Now, we still have people saying our numbers don't count.
What numbers
It don't matter to vote. Oh, what do you say to that? Because I mean, we also, there's a thing called, you know, we voted, but we still, there's a second term that we still have to be on top of right now. You know, our numbers really matter. So what do you think about that? Well, I mean, what do you say to people like that?
I think that if anyone says that voting don't matter, I would beg to differ, and I would kind of point to how hard the opposition is trying to keep us from doing it.
That's right.
There would be no such thing as voter suppression if voting didn't matter.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? I don't necessarily trust the methods or intentions of government. However, I see action. If people want to keep you from voting, that means it must be something to it.
That's right.
If it was going to be the same way anyway, then why would they put so much effort and energy into stopping us from doing it? You know what I mean? Like, why would that be? It just doesn't make sense. Now, a lot of time when people say voting don't matter, this, that, and the other, I believe it's because, you know, they don't want the inconvenience of having to go out of their way and find out where to vote and do. You know, one thing about black people, people of color in generally, if you give them too many steps to have to do something, they're gonna like, you know what, I'm done. I'm not doing this.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like if you pick up the phone, you have to call, hold 1 second. Oh, I gotta hold on. You know what I mean?
Even calling HR. Oh,
Right.
I'm gonna be on the phone for 45 minutes. I'm not even gonna deal with that right now.
Sure.
Forget that paperwork.
Sure, but I think that if there was better education on why it's important, how it affects their lives, you have to show people how voting or how them not voting will affect their life. I'll give you an example. So, let's say the mayoral race with Keisha Lance Bottoms.
Yeah.
The thing that was being attacked by her opposition at the time was our culture. You know, they were talking about, you know, closing strip clubs and, you know, and just implementing new things within the city that attack our way of life. And so when that was seen, I said, hey, listen, y'all, if you are a DJ, a stripper, a promoter, a valet man, if you anything to do with clubs or bars or entertainment within this city, and y'all don't get out here and vote, your bag gonna slow up. And when they heard that, they say, oh, hell yeah, we got to get out of there. You know what I mean? You just have to show people how it affects their lives.
Yes.
With the presidential candidate, I think that one of the main things is for Biden was, you know, like legalizing marijuana. You know what I mean? That was a big thing on his ticket. You know. Now, of course, his opposition or his opponent, it's kind of hard to go that way anyway. Mm-hmm. But when you say, okay, so you got legalized marijuana, you got a raised minimum wage, you know, it's certain things that you can see how it affects your life. So when you put that out there, people say, okay, cool, I'm gonna go, you know, get this an opportunity. Yes. Now, whether or not they actually do it is the case in point that people say it don't matter.
Yeah.
So I think now it's up to us to hold the people who we vote for accountable in local and federal elections.
I love the fact that people are into the politics more, though.
Because
I'm gonna be real. Growing up, right? Because I feel
Yeah.
growing up, I felt like I didn't understand the language.
Right.
You know, Ocasio coming in now, and she's a girl from the Bronx who's now, you know, in the system, and I feel like she's there, and I hear her, and she's talking, and she sounds like me when she talks, you know, and I wasn't able to relate to anybody like that.
Right.
You know, even Cardi B talking to Biden, you know, those situations show us in the hoods and in our communities that we matter.
It's true.
You know, our opinions, whether or not I talk intellectually, whether or not I'm saying expeditiously, and I know those big words. I matter. You know, I still could. My message could still get out, and it's still it matters.
I mean, you want people in position that represent you.
That's
You want
right.
people that look like you, represent you, at least understand what your concerns are so they can address them.
That's right.
If you have a person in a position of authority that don't understand your concerns and don't know how to address your concerns, then you're going to have the same concerns for quite a bit of time. So I think that's important, you know. I think those are the things that, you know, would kind of sway the young people from thinking that voting don't matter.
I think we're going to do better this generation.
Well, I mean, we're already doing better.
Yeah,
We're
totally.
already
You're
doing
right.
better.
You're right. I love that.
The young generation, man, they have basically they're taking the sense of urgency to activism.
Yes.
And I feel like that is the generation is going to turn this thing around.
Totally.
Yeah.
All right, I want to talk about Lloyd of London petition. Yes.
Okay.
Now, this was, I mean, when I got into it and, you know, I sat with your people and they told me about what this entailed and what went behind this, I was like, wow. Why did you do this petition and why specifically to them?
Well, as I said, as many things that we faced in our communities, sticking together will solve 99% of it. Corporations respect numbers.
Yes.
If it's just one person with a singular opinion, it ain't gonna go too far. But if this one person has the support of hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people that all feel the same way, well, that requires some attention. So that is the reason for the petition. Now, why them? Well, Lloyds of London has built their illustrious empire off of the backs, blood, sweat, and tears of slave labor. They ensured colonizers, people from Europe who wanted to build and buy ships to sail to other continents and collect slaves to bring back. You know, they insured our ancestors as cargo. You know, and there were deductibles paid for those of our ancestors that did not make it, that perished on the ride. They paid a deductible and got their money back.
Yes.
So now here you are 400, 500 years later, or 400 years later and some change, and here you, what is it? How many trillions? Was it some trillions? Anyway, however much it is.
I could imagine.
I believe that the ancestors, the descendants, I should say, of those slaves that you insured as cargo deserve a piece of that empire.
That's right.
And not to mention how, you know, people of color have astronomically been affected within lending institutions, and it's harder for us to get loans. We get worse interest rates, and we are traumatized by the conditions of poverty in our communities. And if you could lend to a colonizer to build and buy ships to collect slaves, why can't you lend to us?
Hello.
You could give us $1 million loan. You gave them loans. Is you up? You ain't like you got a shortage of money. You up? You owe us. Why not?
Why not?
You know what I'm saying? So I think that's the spirit in which we wrote letters back and forth to Lloyds of London, and you know, they politely told us, yeah, nah, we ain't necessarily trying to do that, but we're gonna continue.
That's
you know
right.
what I'm
The fight don't stop, and the fact that it's out there, right?
When the numbers grow, and the support is strong enough, there will be no choice. You look at matters like apartheid in South Africa. Apartheid, no one wanted that to end. The people who were at the top oppressing people of color, they did not want to end that. They did it because the corporations who invest in their infrastructure, they said, hey man, what's going on with this? And that came from students here in Atlanta at the AUC.
Look at that.
At that point, something had to be done to address it. You know, nothing happens just because. If nothing changes, nothing changes.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So the same way they created leverage in those circumstances, the same way we can create leverage in this circumstance.
Amazing. Attacking them right where it hurts.
I mean, you know, that's the idea.
Smart way to do it.
That's the idea. You know, the greatest journey begins with one step.
Oh, that's right. And I mean, just the step to start, you know,
Right.
and what you guys did, and you said it again. I feel like Us or Else plugs in everywhere. You
I
know,
mean,
you
we
almost
try.
said it while you were saying, you know, and it's just truly remarkable, you know, to take
Well,
those
thank you.
actual actions and to know the information that goes behind this. Because
Right.
your team, like I said, we're back to Us or Else and the legal aids behind it. And, you know, this is all something that's studied. This is not something that we're just doing to do.
Paralegals.
You know? Yes,
Studied
paralegals.
by paralegals and interns that, you know, inform me
Yes.
a lot of times. You know, I might find something that's just a headline and then shoot it to them, and they'll come back with a very comprehensive report of exactly what happened, why it happened, and how it affects our people. Which allows me to be, you know, better supplied and armed with the information that I need to get out there and do what I need
Yeah,
to do.
you
on
truly
behalf
take
of
it
the
and you help
people.
us. You translate that for us.
I try my best.
You know? So now we spoke about empathy, and you guys have something going on with a whole day of empathy. I'm in love with this. I mean, it speaks for itself, right?
Yeah.
A day of empathy, a day for us to truly talk about what matters.
Right.
You know, when it
Caring
comes to the
about the
prison, when
plights
it
of
comes
others.
to, you know, our people, when
Sure.
it comes to, again, the issues, the systematic issues, the things that we're dealing as people of color.
I mean, I think every day is a day of empathy.
Yes.
You know, but it's phenomenal that, you know, that we're going to collectively acknowledge it, you know, in unison. But every day, like, you know what I'm saying, how can you not, you supposed to want for people what you want for yourself.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it don't bother me if people have as much as I have, so I don't have a reason to look down on anyone. I want everybody to feel how can I say, the confidence that comes with a certain level of accomplishment,
That's right.
certain level of independence, to have a vision that you see coming to fruition just, you know, by your effort and energy and working hard. Like, that to me is a sense of fulfillment that I would love for everyone to have. You know what Jim Carrey said one time? He said, I wish I could make everyone rich so they could see how much money don't matter.
For real, man.
Yeah, I mean, so I just try to live by the old principle.
That's crazy. We're talking about, you know, prison reform. We're talking about this because Jim Carrey used to write to Tupac in
Word.
jail. And I posted this yesterday.
That's fine.
That's crazy, right?
That's
Tupac
fine.
talked about how he was his favorite actor. He would write to him in
That's
jail.
fine.
And you just saying that piece right there, it connected with me that, wow, you know what I'm saying?
Right on.
I
think that's the thing, though, man. We have to, like, I think having empathy for others translates in our life. Like, you can actually tell when you do things for others, it spins around and comes back to repay you in ways that you never thought, that you never imagined.
Totally.
You can't expect it or anticipate it, but you just know. You put enough good out there, then good's gonna come back. And I think that's what, you know, that's the beauty of empathy to me.
Yeah, and again, too, with social media and everything is a day, right? We got the dog day, we got the cat day, we got the love day.
It's a day for everything.
So for me right now, if it's something that we can make a trend,
Right.
that people are just going to jump on because this is the type of, you know, this is the narrative right now, right?
Right.
This is what people take to, then let's make a day of empathy so
Right.
it goes out there and everybody's, you know, being empathetic. And, you know, because I mean,
caring for
yes.
others. You know what I'm saying? Like, it don't take much, you know, but it's a lot of miserable people out there.
So many.
And if you don't love yourself, or if you don't find any beauty within yourself and your life, then you're gonna have much less empathy for others.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? How you feel about yourself translates in how you treat other people.
totally. From 2016, the album, the songs, to what it is now, the whole social justice charity. What do you want for this? Like, where do you see this going for your community?
I just want to create more programs, policies, and mechanisms that allow our communities to become self-reliant and have a self-sustainable ecosystem of commerce, education, and opportunities, you know, for us, by us, or else.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, knowledge is power, man.
Right on.
And if anybody could have taught us that, it's Tip.
You're too kind.
With the you don't have
can
the
learn
dictionary
anything
on
from
you,
everybody.
right?
You can
I
learn
was
anything
like-
from everybody.
Last night,
I don't have a dictionary on me, and a lot of people ask me, like, you know what I'm
you
saying,
really
how
sound
did
like you read the dictionary every night.
But see, that's the thing. I don't. But I have had some times where I spent more time researching words and digging in the dictionary. But I've never learned more words from anything than I have from casual conversation.
It's amazing.
Like just talking to people. You know what I'm saying? You can learn. I learn a new word from anyone. If you say something like, "Hey, what does that mean?"
Yeah.
You know, most people just too prideful to stop them, and they just, you know what I'm saying, want to go about their day. But I like to, what did you say? What is that?
I like that.
What does that mean?
That.
You know what I mean? So that's the way I kind of expand my vocabulary.
Man, Tip, this is a true honor.
Well, pleasure's all mine. I appreciate you.
We thank you, and I cannot wait to see what's to come with all this greatness you got. It's for the people and for our culture, because that's what this is really about, man.
It is. It's God's work. I'm just an instrument. I'm just a vessel. I'm just, you know what I'm saying, the person who he chose to do the little things that I do. And if everybody does a little, no one has to do a lot.
Well, much blessings to you.
Right on. Thank you.
You have it, yo. Jacina Love, Tip, this is 50. We out.